So, hello everybody. My name is Jana Ivanova and I'm from Bulgaria. I will be today's moderator. Dear all, welcome to this side event dedicated to the Erasmus Plus courses for youth. They were organized around the need to ensure that younger generations are aware of the benefits of the implementation of sustainable development goals through cooperation and to sustain and accelerate actions for delivering them. We wish to foster young people's knowledge and ability to enter the job market in the driving seat. We aimed to enhance their awareness of cultural, social, and economical identity and their countries, and wanted to allow them to relate to the culture and identity of other countries' participants in the projects in order to promote capacity building. And in this side event, trainers, organizers will present 3 projects. The first one is Now I Know How, the second one, Able to Do, and the third one, Equals EU, Gender Equality for Youth Leaderships of Globally. But above all, we will welcome young people themselves. They will tell us how they managed to overcome these challenges of the pandemics and what the participation in this training means to them in these, objectively speaking, very difficult times. It was a strong experience for all of them and me personally, because I also took part. The main objective common to all projects was to support young people in developing a solid system of values, for example, work ethics, the pursuit of excellence, the responsibility of results, as well as achievements, etc. All these were taken as factors that can effectively counter a possible empathy highly experienced during pandemic by youth, as well as disorientation in the new situation and isolation, etc. We wish to help young people's active integration into the job market and aimed to stimulate their creativity and activity. Our first speaker will be Pamela Barnabai, president of the Antonio Meneghetti Scientific and Humanistic Research Foundation, NGO in special consultative status with Ecosoc. Pamela will tell us about the needs that were addressed considering SDGs. So Pamela, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Zana. The foundation was founded in 2007 and it is based in Switzerland. It's an international foundation and it has been declared of public utility for the social activities that carry out. We sustain many projects, especially for what concerns research and the disseminations of the results of knowledge. And about young people, we are particularly focused on the 3 SDGs. I asked the technicians if we can start the PPT presentations. Eduardo, please. Thank you. So, we are a foundation in consultative status with the Ecosoc. Which kind of SDGs we are going to address during this side events? Of course, when we are talking about Erasmus courses, we have to talk about the 4 SDGs. That is next, please. That is about the education. Ensures inclusive and equitable qualities. And we are especially focused on these 3 indicators, 4.3, 4.4, and 4C. Next. But in this case, especially because the topic of the forums is concentrated on other SDGs, I would like to explain you the connection between the 4 SDGs on quality education with the 17 SDGs. For us, it's very important to ensure equal access to education for women and men, and we will see in the 3rd project that is going to be presented in this side events. And especially we need to increase the number of youth and adults who have relevant skills. There are so smart young people, and life always give us this enormous wealth. And we need to create this project that can be foster this uniqueness. And we focus on a main theme: how the young people can enter as a protagonist in the job market in order to help the context where they work. So we focus the education SDGs on this theme. In order to reach this, for us it is very important to create a partnership with very large scale of stakeholders so that the young people can learn the different perspective in the entrepreneurial sphere, for example. So next, for us, it's very important with these projects, to create a bridge that can resolve the gap between the educational system and what the labor market asks. How to do this? We focus on the fact that the young people have to talk with the CEO, with the founders of a company. At the very beginning, I was told, okay, they have no times to spend to young people. They have to work. They will give you a guide and you will visit a company. And I say, no, I don't want a guide. I want the CEO. And after a lot of work, we try to find a solution. So we discovered there are categories of entrepreneurs that are very like to talk about their story, about their passion. And we discovered that the Made in Italy entrepreneurs like a lot to talk about how they reach their success and what they have done. I want to remember all that, of course, when we talk about Made in Italy, we think about luxury, about beautiful things, but we need to remember that the Made in Italy miracles was born after the Second World War. It must be recalled that this Made in Italy was a reaction to a situation where the country was destroyed by the Second World War, and it started to answer to the needs of how to rebuild things, how to rebuild the context that was completely destroyed. And I don't need to remember you that every day what we see in the journals and in TV. So the Made in Italy could be considered as a school for the young people, where they can know the service psychology, where they can learn how to respond to the needs. Next, but the point is that they do not have to copy the Made in Italy. They have to understand the know-how the Made in Italy, so that they can create their Made in Bulgaria, Made in Romania, Made in Latvia, Made in Lithuania. And we will see a lot of examples during this side event. So it is important to transmit through a variety of stakeholders this kind of passions and know-how. And we discover that Made in Italy can help a lot to do this task. The second SDGs next that we address during this course was the 11 SDGs. It means make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. We focus especially on the target 11.4 and 11.8. It's important to consider the rural-urban area next, because because in 2050, the 68% of the world population project to live in urban areas. So it means that there will be 2.5 billion of people in the city more than now. And this is the revisions of 2018 of the World Urbanization Prospect of the United Nations, and the next one will be delivered into 2024. No, next, another slide, by the United Nations. So we will be updated. Now, for the foundations, support projects that can develop the rural area is very important, because through the small town, we can find a solution, especially in the pandemic situations. Next. When we start these projects, and the panelists will tell you, it was in the middle of the pandemic situations. And thanks to this place, we were able to start this project. Had it not been for Lizari Hamlet that we see in the pictures, probably we would not be here to talk about all these courses. Because thanks to this Hamlet in the rural situations, it was possible to protect it and manage all the security measures. And we could start this project. Otherwise, it was not possible, because the pandemic situations was so hard and it was not safe. But in this rural context, in this rural work, it is possible to find some measures that can help to live in a higher way and more operatively than in the city. An hamlet like Lizari, over 2000 years old, brings solutions that are relevant for today. So we can learn from the past during the present for building the futures. And it's important to stay in projects, cultural projects, training projects that can give the possibility of a multi-stakeholder partnerships, because of course it can't be only architect. You have to need entrepreneurs. You need to have a project like, for example, cultural projects, training projects, to keep and to maintain and to use place like that. You see, it was completely destroyed and then recovers. And also the second module next took in Lombardy, and you can see it took place in a little farm that was completely recovered. And without this place, it wouldn't be possible to carry out this project. So during the pandemic situations, it is important to consider this rural area that can let us live better, and then can let us work. Just the last information, after this course, we usually give to the participant a questionnaire of evaluations. And Lizari was evaluated by the young people 9.7 on 10. And it never happened in 35 years that I'm doing this work. So it means that the young generations can appreciate this place, and that we absolutely have to foster and not underestimate how young people can consider the rural areas to foster work and training. Thank you.
Many thanks, Pamela, for your opening. It was enlightening. Now we can perhaps talk more specifically about the pedagogical approach used in this Erasmus Plus project, Now I Know How. Hanna Jungova, partner of Foil Service Consulting and training company that was founded in Milan in 2001, and that carried out the pedagogical part of the project, will tell us about the main innovative features. Hanna, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jana. Thank you very much. So you said already one information about Foil Service. Maybe I should add what does it do? Its core business is to provide entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, managers, and senior executives with the skills necessary to deal with the human element and with the social dimension of the company. There are two main target groups: entrepreneurs on one hand, and young people who wish to enter the job market on the other. And the latter is immediately relevant for the Erasmus Plus project that we are presenting today. I would now ask for slide number 2 of the presentation. And next. Thank you. So what was the main aim of the Now I Know How project? It wished to formalize, apply, test, and disseminate an innovative training approach in the form of a training course for youth, so that young people could be prepared to enter job market successfully, equipped with key skills, competencies that would allow them to start working in the globalized world, eased with having acquired practical leadership skills. There was another element, which was ancient crafts. We wanted to draw inspiration from them, especially with regards to the mindset. So who are these craftsmen that are so successful? How did they make it? What was their story? How are they as people? So the training provided a sort of platform opportunity across various training activities to explore students' talents and passions. They could play, they could see what are their aspirations, what are their passions that could be transformed in a business project or in a professional activity. So ultimately, it was about enhancing young people's employability and competitiveness. Next slide, please. There were 3 participating countries, Bulgaria, Czechia, and Italy. 3 because in order to acquire intercultural skills for the students, it is necessary to break the culture silos, to leave the bubble in which each of us lives. So it was done on purpose. There were 3 different organizations, an NGO, a high school, and an SME. So each of the participating organizations is working with youth, each one in a specific way, in their own context, be it a cultural one or administrative one. So this allowed us to bridge the gap, especially between the world of school and the world of business. That was our goal. We will be talking about that later on in the upcoming presentation. Students were 29, coming from the 3 countries, and they were aged 16 to 29, 16 to 30. So it's a very large age cohort. Why did we do this? This was also on purpose. And the goal was to increase the diversity and possibility of mutual inspiration among them, because a peer can learn, a high school student can learn a lot from a peer who is just a little bit older, but perhaps already has a job, is developing a business project, etc. Next slide, please. The course consisted in 5 training modules. 2 were on-site, experiential, and they took place in Italy. One was in the Borgo Lizori, in the hamlet in Umbria that Pamela already spoke about. And another one in Lombardy, in Marudo, Foil Service headquarters. And then we had 3 online modules alternating. What we could see, especially considering the situation of the pandemic, is that the on-site experiential learning is irreplaceable, completely irreplaceable. And it was very much appreciated by the students. They needed to be outside, they needed to socialize, they needed to be on the spot. At the same time, the online modules allowed us very much to carry on. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to complete this project without this possibility. And it was also an opportunity to explore new ways of teaching for the future. So what were the main innovative points of the training approach that was applied in the Now I Know How project? Next slide, please. So the content of the training, the curricula, was tailor-made and individualized, and that is radically. So since the very beginning, there was a training structure, yes, a basis. So we had a clear idea about learning outcomes that need to be reached, points of content that need to be treated, but then developing a concrete program, developing a set of activities step by step. This was a question that we did gradually. So after each module, we gathered feedback from the students. Then, of course, trainers and students managed to know each other. So there was also feedback directly from the classes. And then on the basis of what was emerging, what do these individual students need, activities got developed. So the question was always, where are students heading and how can we support them? For instance, in one of the modules, students mentioned we would need to know how to save money in order to be able in the future to develop a business, to start a business. So a lecture on financial literacy was inserted on the program. You can imagine how challenging this is in a situation of the pandemic where everything is uncertain and everything changes from one week to another, sometimes even one day to another. But it was all worth it, despite the challenge. Next slide, please. The training applied a variety of training methods. These courses are really beautiful because it is hard work, but it is also like a game. It is fun, it is practical, it is experiential. So there was a variety of training methods because each participant is different. Each one manages to tune attention through a different channel. Each one we wish to offer to each one an aha moment when something becomes from knowledge and experience, a practical skills, something that is really innerly owned, mastered, and can be actually exercised practically. So there were theory classes, there were guided visits in companies, in heritage sites, there were outdoor activities, workshops, individual and group work, games, challenges. We also applied specific foil training tools like photographic self-portraiture or synology. Each channel was suitable for different kind of students. So there was a stimulation across various ways. And outdoor and social activities proved to be more important than ever for the well-being of the student, precisely considering the situation of the pandemic. Next slide, please. The training was interdisciplinary and valorizing differences. So what do we mean in concrete terms? We said already that there were 3 different countries, large age cohort, different interests and aspirations of the students. How can it all work together? Because the goal was precisely to break the social silos, field silos, to get out of the bubble, to be out of each other lockdowns, figuratively speaking. So the training aimed at developing skills and competencies, mindset and personality features, so that it could be useful in any kind of professional path or activity. Next slide, please. The training Now I Know How used the Made in Italy brand as a paradigm and as a case study. Pamela already touched upon the most important roots of this approach. Basically, it's about teaching creativity, developing creativity and entrepreneurial skills. So the point is not to promote the brand or to show Italy. The goal is through this experience, through being in Italy, through learning about Made in Italy, through meeting people who made it, to extract the competencies and the skills, to then apply, to then use in any kind of field or any kind of country. Next slide, please. Now, did this project have an easy life? No, not at all. Quite the contrary. It was first submitted in 2019, then for the second time in October 2020. That was the moment when the project got submitted. And we basically all thought that the pandemic was about to end, that the situation was getting better, and by the time that we would start, it would definitely be over, everybody vaccinated, etc. But it was not at all the case. The project got approved in February 2021, which was one of the toughest lockdowns. And at that moment, we were not even sure whether to start because we were envisaging to bring 29 students coming from 3 countries, many of them 16 years old, unvaccinated, to Italy for a series of experiential activities. It didn't seem very easy. So the question was, shall we continue? But then we decided, yes, it was tough. We had to really counter a lot of uncertainty. And in September 2021, with all safety measures respected, the first project activity took place on site in Italy, in the Lidori hamlet. We saw the pictures before. So there was a high level of uncertainty, extremely high throughout the project. And next slide. I would call it more a challenge than a difficulty, because it was an opportunity to learn a lot, not only the students, but also trainers, organizers, stakeholders. Virtually everybody said after each module, we learned at least as much as the students. So the challenges that were posed by the context stimulated us to be topical, up to date, impactful, to stay alive, to be relevant for the students before even starting to train them, to teach them something. So it was an experience that took place live, and it was a life experience for everybody involved. It is now I know how, and the now is very important in the title. Next slide, please. This is the result of our project. This is a site where you will be able to not only read about it, but to see the book in 4 language versions that we produced, and then basically shows the whole experience. Now I know how training from different points of view, trainers, students, organizers. There's also video available, and it is a very nice read. So enjoy. I hope that you will like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Hannah, too. So now I have the greatest pleasure to introduce Luca Barbonari and Andrea Talius. They were my peers in this wonderful Now I Know How project. And I would like to ask them just a couple of questions. Luca, are you here?
Hi, my name is Luca. Hi, it's been a pleasure.
For me too. So my first question for you is like, what did this course represent for you in times of this pandemic?
As we all know, COVID was really detrimental to the social and active life of the young people. We were actually forced to lock ourselves down at home within 4 walls, preventing us from actually living our experience, such as going to the disco, going out in the afternoon, or a simple walk, just, you know, like routine. And now I would like also to talk about NEET kids. And like these kids are someone that we should be helped, because they are really in, I'm not going to say like in danger, but something like that, because they're actually losing their life, spending, yeah, just this. And I think that should be more, I don't know, stimulation for these kids who are losing the willing to do. Yes, exactly like this. Of course, there should be like more control from parents, guardians, anyone that is near those kids. And of course, there should be more awareness on the part of institutes and high school to promote stimulating activities so that these kids can, yeah, like find a purpose in life, which is really important for us in this like period of time. And also there are many workshops such as a drama or school and not school activities that are very interesting. So yeah, one example, of course, was certainly the Now I Know How activity, which was, I'm going to say, really stimulating in all senses, you know, Jana, yeah. Also sport is also like a good compromise, training the body and making young people socialize. I think it's very important in this period of time that students, but also like teenager, must socialize, because they're gonna be adult. So yeah, now you're going to learn how to do it.
Thank you so much, Luca. And now I would like to give the floor to Andrea. Same questions.
Okay, I'm usually very critical of my peers, including at the school back home. I consider them superficial and interested only in appearances, and I was surprised by and impressed by the quality of the boys and girls, Italian and foreign, alike, whom I met thanks to the Erasmus Plus project. I managed to socialize by overcoming to a degree my introverted nature, especially through the practical activity and the social events. And pandemics certainly did not help me to tackle this personality feature, and the diversity of the Erasmus Plus group stimulated me to improve the knowledge of the English language, and I wish to continue. What I learned in the various training activity, when you have a goal, you have to know also how to provisionally adapt in order not to waste opportunity. Other experience also helped me in self-analysis, and I did not imagine that they would have been so useful and interesting.
Thank you, Andrea. Luca, for you personally, has there been anything that you could understand about your personality like Andrea?
Yes, actually, yes. From a personal point of view, this grateful experience was a great opportunity to ascertain my strong inclination for social relations. And it was actually an opportunity to discover a natural ability of mine to like aggregate, to animate, even new and heterogeneous groups, just as happened in the in presence model. And I was really excited to do it because I didn't know that I was so able to manage all of this, also new people. And I think it's thanks to this that I later decided to direct my studies like toward public relations and or like human resources management. And I made the decision to measure myself with an internship experience. So at the beginning, I was not really certain to do it, but then after the Now I Know project, I had like the I don't know, the strength to do it. And I started this internship with my father's company. So again, thanks to Now I Know How project. And I think to conclude, like participating in this Erasmus project, in other words, was very important in order to understand my inclination and to better orient me in my study and like my, of course, work choices in the future, but still.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I remember that you studied for medicine exams. That's why I was shocked for a little. Well, that's
Yes.
wonderful. Yeah. And for you, both of you, being Italian, how was the experience of learning through the Made in Italy background?
I was really like surprised because even if I'm Italian, Made in Italy was a like shock, like a really real discovery. And I truly believe that Made in Italy is like formidable example of personal leadership and a successful business project. As you know, like we see like a lot of CEO and some experience that truly like had a strong impact to us. And here, like this project has the merit of having exploited Made in Italy for like this very purpose, to provide a concrete example of knowing how to do and know how to be, that are really like related each other. And I think that an objective that has been achieved in full. In yes, also participating to this Erasmus project gave me the chance to getting to know the psychology, which is really important, of the successful entrepreneurs, but also the psychology of the clients. And yeah, as I said, we met lots of entrepreneurs, and we actually had the opportunity to know them like in real life, in real person, but also through their way of communicating with us, like seeing the different reaction of young people of the other nationalities. Like I was really interested of how Bulgarians and also Czech would I don't know, like just answer to those answers. Yeah. And also another important thing is probably understanding my yeah, like we face with the same experience, and also understanding our limits and the shortcomings I needed to overcome, like us, of course. And probably also the learning the concreteness of realistic goals, and the most important, um, learning how to work as a team, as a, like I would say, family, because after the first module and the second module, we were like very close to each other. So not just the Italians one, but the Czech, Bulgarian. So I consider myself as like a family of the Now I Know project, not just like a team. Like a team would be not so like accurate to say it. And yeah, these I think are all pieces of a unique experience, and probably I would say the most formative and yeah, complete I ever had since now.
I totally agree with you. What about you, Andrea?
Okay. During our guided visit in Made in Italy companies, an entrepreneur told us about his big business project that was born during lockdown. And it's proof that even in the worst moment of crisis, there can be a breakthrough. And I definitely appreciated the presentation of the service psychology by a girl just a few years older than me, entrepreneur herself, when things get explained by someone who is practically your age, they get always even more accessible. This training experience allowed me to make the right connection with aspects of service psychology that were repeatedly touched upon during the course. And from a practical and personal point of view, I clearly improved my study and internship performance. And the end of my internship, for example, I obtained the highest mark and I was the best intern of the group. The result of the added value I learned is being able to take up challenges that given context present, being able to manage situation and to deal with problem as if the context where I occasionally work was my own, and being able to foresee and satisfy the needs and desire of other people.
That's great, Andrea. Thank you for your opinion. And now let's look at the project from another point of view. How, more specifically, did we overcome the difficulties of the pandemic in Now I Know How, the project, and how did young people respond? Now I would like to give the floor to Nelly Gospodinova, chair of the Black Sea Center of Excellence, Bulgaria, Dobrich region, where I came from too. So Nelly, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Jana. So hello from Bulgaria, from the Black Sea Center of Excellence. It is really my great pleasure to be at this forum, and especially to have the chance to listen to the voice of young people. Listening to you, what I would say that no difficulties, we just succeed. Jana, you asked me about how we overcame the difficulties, but to be honest, if I have the chance to say or to describe the project in 3 words, the words will be challenge, passion, and success. Because we all, the organizers of this project at the very beginning knew that it wouldn't be so easy as Hannah mentioned. It wouldn't be so easy to organize, especially those activities connected with the mobility to Italy. However, we were sure that workshops, let's say, activities in Italy are vital for this project because it is quite difficult to explain someone made in Italy without being in Italy, without being in touch with the atmosphere, with the specific passion of those who made this in Italy. So, like a ship, we moved through the waves of the pandemic situation. And to be honest, we managed to find exactly time window between 2 pandemic waves and to organize the first mobility to Italy. As a manager and a teacher, I would say that if you like to convince people in what you want to convince them or to teach them, it is nothing deals just with theory. It means that it is good to show, for example, what the risk management of one project is. And especially we did exactly this. We managed the project along the pandemic situation. Of course, just in short, I would say that we did not have any difficulties. We had a lot of challenges. Every day, as Hannah mentioned, it was necessary students and teachers to take tests. Even one person of our Bulgarian group happened to stay in Italy for 21 days, but no on a business trip, but in one room, just because it happened that she was positive. However, it was really good exercise for all of us, for her parents who understood that her child has already grown up, for us teachers and organizers to understand that that is a different world and we are in a changing situation every minute, every day. And on the other hand, it was really a great experience for that girl because it was a kind of an exercise of will, but of Italian as well, and biology. Because as a result of that stay in Italy, now that girl studies medicine at university. So instead of being difficult, it happened to be a great challenge. Since we had another, I would say, what happened after the first visit to Italy, some of the participants decided that it is too challenging for them to continue. But that was part of our goal, to convince students how important it is to keep going, although many things could happen on that new way. So that's from my point of view. What about from your point of view, Jana? Was it difficult?
It was not easy at all, for sure. but I think that it all worth it. And I started to see the challenges, as you said, as opportunities and not as difficulties, as I used to think before. And thank you for now, Nelly, as well for the others involved, the participants, for now. For not giving up and give us the opportunity to and realizing this project. And I have the pleasure now to pass the floor to Dilian and Andriana Ulach. Together with Nelly again, they will tell about increasing the awareness of economic changes in youth after pandemic and after this pandemic. And how was it done? How did it work? Please, colleagues, you have the floor.
Okay, so thank you once again. Perhaps, yes, that's our presentation. As I mentioned, it is said today that we live in a different world, different from yesterday. Everyone, especially young people, have the chance, but they also have the responsibility to make that earth a better place for their children. Believe me, no one among adults, especially responsible adults like me and like my colleagues, are not proud of what we are on the way to leave you, young people, and our children. There is a well-known story that we do not inherit our earth from our parents, but we adults have borrowed the earth from you children. However, at the moment, many adults just do not want to understand that saying, and perhaps you will be the one that will convince us, make us better people, because you are our future. And I think that in this context, that 17 SDGs are more or less our dream of the world tomorrow. Reaching this dream, it goes through answering numerous questions and numerous issues, among which is how we are going to live in post-pandemic times, including how we can raise the awareness of economic changes among young people. So, before coming here to that forum, some days ago, we asked a target group of young people, students from schools and colleges in the region of Dobrich, about their attitude to this question, how to raise the awareness of economic change. Could you please show us the second slide? Yes. So as you can see, we worked with different students from the age of, let's say, 14 to the age of 29, sorry. And what happened that when being asked what sources of information do you use to inform yourself about the economic changes, as you can see, obviously, the most of them says that they use social networks, then some of them use TV, then school and university discussions, and that they are informed about the economic changes. But as you can see, we have about 18.5% of students who are just not interested. Perhaps it is time we to talk about those and to convince those young people who are just not interested in not mine, but their future. Can you show me the next slide, please? Yes. So we ask one more question. Do you think that the information you receive about the economic consequences of the pandemic is sufficient? And as you can see, yes, just 18.5, while no, 38.9% of those being asked. One of the reasons for this is that nowadays there is a lot of fake news in these social networks, and many young people, and not just young people, but adults as well, they misunderstood what exactly the real situation is. They believe in conspiracy theories, and just to convince themselves that they are the victims of the situation, and not to grab in their arms their future. So being asked, how do you think the awareness of young people about the economic after the pandemic can be improved? Most of the answers were connected again with the use of network, organizing webinars, platforms, but not so complicated platforms. Even I was told that some of the students answering this question said that, why do you ask us so complicated questions? So perhaps next time when I prepare such a survey, I will prepare a glossary. I will not make the questions easier, but for sure I will prepare a list of words that young people who pretend to be well educated need to know, and not just young people. There is a great number of students answering that they would like to have more economic issues and plans in the curriculum, in the school curriculum. And of course, some of them, and not just about 18%, would like to be more active and to be more involved in economic forums, such as the one that we are in at the moment. So today, could you please, the other slide? Today I invited here, and together with me are 3 of the project participants from Bulgaria, not just Adriana and Dilian, but Jana. You can join us as well. And perhaps we will be able to answer some of the questions that were arisen during this survey. And our answers are connected and are on the base of our experience and the results of Now I Know How project. So let's start first with education. Perhaps it is really good to incorporate economics education in school curriculum. I do not say that the economic issues are not included in the curriculum, but somehow they are not so interesting for young people. We are talking about the history of economics, while we are making our history right now. And instead of going back on time and giving some examples of, let's say, of the age of industrial revolution, perhaps it will be good more and more examples to be given from today's world. So that's our book, Now I Know How, give more information about basic economic concepts. Meanwhile, it provides psychology of the successful entrepreneurs that we have the chance to meet in Italy. It provides also information, and not just information, but good examples how to perform on job market. And the last but not the least are so-called start from the scratch the good case studies of our students. Okay, so in that point of education, I have a question to Adriana, Dilian, and Jana. How can such courses help us and improve the formal school education? What do you think from your point of view?
I will take the word. So it can be really useful, not only in one subject. Like we can use everything that we learn in that project in geography, philosophy, math, everything in our lives. We learn a lot. We learn how to think critical. We learn how to speak in front of people like right now. We learn what we want actually, because I am at the age of 17 and I have still 1 year left in school, and there's a lot of students that have 1 month, but they still don't know what they want. And this project helped me to understand myself better and find what I want. So that kind of opportunities are amazing. They're giving you the chance to find professional orientation, to find what you want from this life, because for 12 years the school protects us, and after after those years we get out from there and we are alone. We don't know what to do. And if there's no such a thing to learn in schools, like everything in Now I Know How, you're kind of lost. You don't know what to do. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Adriana. What about you, Dylan? We cannot hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so I completely agree with Adriana about the problems which a student can face after graduating. It is quite frightening when you come out of your protected and safe zone where you feel safe and sound, and now you have to go look for a job, to attend a university, actually manage to live on your own. You may need to learn other skills like cooking, even. Like you have to be able to support yourself. And such projects really help a student who wants to get better at those so-called life skills, because school, it teaches us the formal things. Like it teaches us basics in math and geography, history, which are important things, but life skills are something essential, and they could be also taught at school, not only at home by parents. Teachers can also help us, and this project is a prime example for that. So I feel helped.
Okay, thank you. And Jana, on your point of view as a student at university, in what way do you think such project and such a course can help students?
For me, especially, it was really useful because I'm studying international relations. And in my opinion, basic economic knowledge is essential because the world is driven by economy. And in my university, for some reasons, they took out all of the economic subjects. And I wasn't aware of these basic skills, basic knowledge, how to start. That's why I really find this project not only wonderful from experiences, but also really useful for my future, because it was opened my eyes for what I want to do after the bachelor. I want to specify in the private sector, not in the maybe in the diplomacy, and these I can't say for sure the formal type of learning is important and must still exist, but also it must be combined with non-formal education's methods like Erasmus projects, because nowadays kids are losing attention really fast because of our daily lives, because of what we are used to do with the phones, with all the videos. A lot of us are memorizing things in different ways. For example, for me is through visualizing. For someone is through playing something like games. For other people is by listening. And I think that these kinds of projects give us the opportunity for all of us to understand the information and to stay longer in us and to use it practically, not only theoretically.
Yes, thank you. What I would say is we are lucky because the book is translated in Bulgarian, in Czech, and Italian as well. So even my colleagues, teachers in geography, were quite interested in the book. And it is not like an amusing book that could be read from the first to the last page, but there is some chapters for everybody that would like to know how and to know it right now. So could you please open the next slide, because our answer is connected with the next, of course, technologies and communication. As Hannah mentioned in her presentation, we really produced a wonderful website of the project, because it is very important communicating the importance of economic post-pandemic changes, and of course the 17 SDGs through various channels, not just face-to-face, but also different communication IT channels. Through the project, we demonstrated so-called blended learning that brings together the best of both worlds. Mine world, the world of traditional classroom, and your world, the world of online world and classrooms. So in addition, technologies and communication help us to disseminate the information and to make information free for those who are ready to accept this information, to transform it, and to study. And the last but not the least is the fact that through this website and through the platforms that we used during our online modules, I saw how young people get close together, and they are well informed, and they shared what in one school is studied and what on the Balkans is studied at the same time. So it's good to make the comparison, and in this way to make the things happen better. So I have again a question to you, because you know I prefer you speaking, not me. What do you find the most useful in this communication platform? And be honest and say, could you suggest something more? How can we improve these communication channels? Dilian, you are our IT expert in the group.
Of course, yes. It is really a helpful tool. Like I really enjoy self-learning, so I will be a future university attendee in electronics, and this means that I have to choose my sources wisely, and I have to seek through the internet for various information, and such sites, such tools really helps me. For example, it is something like YouTube, and this is exactly the thing which I value a lot, because having the ability to see presentations, webinars, podcasts, video channels, and things like this is really important. And this site, which the organizers have created, they offer a lot of the videos, a lot of the presentations and materials to be available for us, which is really crucial, because for example, I speak for myself, but I can't really muster up all the knowledge from just the lecture. I have to look through it after the presentation, and then I can say that I have gathered as much information as possible from this particular material. And this double checking, which is provided by the organizers, is really good. So I can go back, see a presentation. If something is misunderstood, I can simply look it up, which is really helpful. Yes. And
Okay, thank you. And Adriana, I think that you have some suggestions.
Yes.
Have you? Yeah.
From my personal point of view, as a graphic designer, I have some suggestions. Like these days, life is moving faster than us, and we don't have so much time. We are seeing those ads everywhere. They're saying a lot with many words, many small words, and we can't see those words. Well, they won't stop us. We are going to scroll and forget about that. And I see that when it comes about finance and things like that, we're using colors like blue, but the blue is cold color. It's not welcoming, and the youth people, they're not interested. So maybe we can use big fonts like this can help you. It's about finance. And we can use warmer colors like yellow, like pink. They're saying you can have something here. It's good.
Okay. Yeah. So as you can see, the website address is in red. So be careful. Okay. So Jana, would you like to continue with the next slide, or you would like to add something?
Just 3 words. For sure, the technologies are a part of our lives, especially for the younger people. So they must exist in our nowadays education, because it gives us more opportunities to as I said earlier, to show the students more presentation, more videos, more sound effects. They will later recognize when they need the information. So I think that they must be integrated in all systems, schools, universities, and all the other, because not only in school and university we are studying, learning.
Okay, thank you. Could you please the next slide, because we are talking about the technologies, we are talking about the education, but no matter how good we are in this technology, without engagement of young people, nothing will work. So our answer to how to make young people more aware of the processes coming in the economic world would be engage them. So young people should be engaged in more discussions like today's discussion about the economic impact of the post-pandemic world. Young people should share their experience together with their teachers and mentors, how we together can go through difficulties and hardships and make the hardships opportunities. and not to stop doing something, but keep going. So engagement of young people, I am really happy that I know you because I see how good you are in organizing your initiatives. And sometimes even when Dilian says, okay, we need passion, it means something new for me because we on Balkans are not, we are passionate in somehow, but for other things, not about entrepreneurships. So I'm really happy that you guys organize and you are involved in different events. So Jana, could you say a few words about your ideas and your colleagues, what you have already started?
Oh yeah, of course. As I study at university, me and some of my colleagues decided to make an NGO about including younger people and especially students, whatever they study, with the market, to connect them with the market, because there are a lot of theoretical part in university, especially, but none of the tutors give us these important relations with experts, for example, CEOs from big companies. That's why we would like, especially for diplomatic part and international companies, to connect younger people with specialists of the market, from the real market. And the second one, like in my initiative, I am on my way to create my own little business based on Now I Know How program and Made in Italy method, which I will try to implement all the things we have learned and all the things that make my aha moment, as Hannah said earlier.
Okay, thank you. I wish you success. Adriana, you are involved in different activities, city activities, and you are more and more brave doing this.
First of all, I want to thanks to the project because of it, I leave my bubble that I was even before the pandemic start. I found some friends, and I understood that the institutions, they're not scary. They can be really welcoming, and they're giving you a lot of opportunities. And actually, I'm trying to show that to my friends, to my family, to everybody around me. And I think that I will success because they're asking me, are you sure that I can go there? I'm talking about our youth center. And I'm telling them, yes, you can go there. They're going to help you. And they're going. And for the last 2 years, I think, I have more than 5 projects and so many
Initiatives.
Yeah, thank you. That I can't count. So the people are active. They are there. They are there. And they are waiting for something to happen. We just must should. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We must show them. That's enough.
Okay, thank you. And Dilian, something to share with us about the engagement of young people?
Well, I haven't talked about politics or economics to any of the, we can say kids, but they're actually not kids. They're around 5th grade. Those are the people which I usually give lessons to. So this is like, it's not a hobby, but it's something I do on the side of my studies. So I've given lessons in 3D modeling, and also during the weekends I give math lessons.
Okay, So you're like a role model for
Well,
young students.
sure, maybe.
Yes.
You can ask
Okay.
them, like, don't ask me. I'm trying to at least.
Okay, thank you. So, Adriana, you have started talking about the way we interact with the administration. So, could you please show us the next slide, which is exactly about collaboration. What we studied from Now I Know How is exactly to collaborate. Collaboration between various stakeholders, such as government, NGOs, private sector, all this can help young people and get their awareness. And somehow, one day, these young people will achieve SDGs. For example, Made in Italy, entrepreneurial approach was shared with project participants through spot visits, through workshops organized by private businesses. Like Pamela mentioned, that a private business was ready to talk, to share experience, to share skills. The private business in Italy, what we saw was ready to give us a present their knowledge. About the NGOs involved in Italy and in Bulgaria, our role was connected with directing the project steps along with the pandemic, trying to be the ship that will help all of us move from one step of the project to the other. Talking about the local municipality and even the government, they provided certain conditions, some of the activities to happen, saying, okay, you can go to Italy, but you will need some tests. Okay, but they reacted in the situation that we were all together. So collaboration is really one important step to make young people much more aware of the things happening around them.
Nelly, sorry for interrupting you, but the time is going further, so maybe
okay. So the last one is the next, which is the last. That is the case study of Adriana, but she has also mentioned a lot about what she did. So what I am going to ask you, what are your future plans?
Actually, after the project, I found a lot of things about me that I don't know still so well. Like I have more than one passions, more than just jewelries, more than just art. So I'm going to work on myself with everything that I learned in this project. I learned how to think. I learned how to find the steps till the thing that I really want. So the future is going to be interesting. I will work in my business, for my business.
Yes, it's your business, which is great.
I'm going to work for the Bulgarian culture. I'm going to work for the people and for the development of our country.
Okay, so once again, thank you. Now I know how.
Thank you. And as the time is going further, I would like to give the floor to one another Italians. Please welcome Mr. Andrea Zoppolato, who contributed sustainably to make the Now I Know How curricula tailor-made, impactful for young people, and ensured interactive talks and activities directly with entrepreneurs, young ones as mature ones, for our young participants. Andrea will tell us about the course, Now I Know How, from entrepreneurs' perspective. Please, Andrea, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this could be the like a little final summary with specific point of view of the entrepreneurs who were involved in these courses. And so I'd like to do, first of all, a short summary of what we'd like to give as entrepreneurs with the Made in Italy. And after, some suggestions of or recommendations for a probable model of education for the future, starting from this nice experience. So first of all, as you said, the Made in Italy that we'd like to transmit to the others is like a made in every different state and every different cultures with three key issues that they are first, the passion. So the message is make passion in everything you do. This is so much important. So in everything you do, this is a thing who makes the difference, how much passion you put in what you do. Second thing is the aesthetic point. You know, aesthetic is not just to be beautiful, but to try to do in everything you do, to do it in a beautiful way, you know, is another thing that is very important and to bring, is it possible to bring in every culture. And the third thing is the orientation to excellence, that it means try to do everything you do, try to do at your own best. Try to do the best that you can in everything you do. This is another thing who can make the difference. So this passion, aesthetic, and excellence are the three key issues. And last thing that I'd like to say is that some recommendations, something that could be useful to bring to for every model of education of the future, that we saw that thanks of you as well, they are key and strong points that we'd like to have in other models of education. I'd like to make a summary with 4 words. First word is socialization. We saw that it's so important. Okay, it's important what the teachers are saying, but it's more important, you know, what happens, the interaction that happens between the students. And especially we saw that a strong point of these classes were for the diversity of the nation of you students. And it brought something special with this intercultural socialization. Second thing is experience. We saw that it's so important, okay, to have teachers, but also if the students go in the inside the company, inside the different environments, and also to have as witness also the persons who run a company, and to start this interaction brings a lot of experience. And the third word is a challenge. The challenge, it means that it's so important to try to do things even if you make mistakes. It's so important that you can be not afraid to make mistakes, and especially because I can tell you a lot of things, but you learn more from what you try to do than from what you hear. And so third thing is try to make challenges. And the fourth word is autonomy. We think that in this kind of word that I think, especially thinking of the past, it is a word that gives you no anything sure, is completely changing, and especially all the authorities, all the system are showing that also they are not sure about what is better to say and to do. And so the only thing to learn is try to be autonomous, of thinking, of the way you think, of the way you act, and but being autonomous in the society, it means also to have a strong sensitivity of the social impact. Because if you think that you want to bring values, not just to yourself, but also to a large amount of people, this is a thing that brings a lot of pleasure and gratification in the human life.
Thank you so much, Andrea. I can tell as a participant that it was indeed quite an experience. But let us now pass the floor to two other projects, and I would like to present to you and welcome Mr. Renars Raubiski, project coordinator of the Institute of Economics of the Latvian Academy of Sciences from Latvia, who will moderate the second part of the side event.
Thank you, Jana. Greetings to all of you. Thank you very much for this wonderful platform that we have tonight. It's a great honor to be able to co-moderate this session for a little bit. As Jean mentioned, my name is Renars Raubišķis, and for more than 2 years now, I've had the wonderful opportunity to develop my own personal competencies and skills as the project manager at the Institute of Economics of the Latvian Academy of Sciences. And currently, I am the project coordinator of the Latvian activities in the Horizon 2020 project equals EU. It's a project that I will tell you about in the end of this side event. And as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic created conditions in which progress towards certain sustainable development goals proceeded at an accelerated pace, but there are some goals that were neglected in the conditions of high uncertainty. In the context of this, I would like to thank all the participants for all these captivating presentations and opinions. And the Now I Know How project. I feel that this project gave young people a unique opportunity to learn the skills and abilities that helped resist the apathy that affected so many young people during the difficult time of the pandemic. And yes, our time is very valuable here, especially more so since it's almost bedtime in Europe. Therefore, I would love to give the floor to Nina Linde, the director of the Institute of Economics of the Latvian Academy of Sciences and the director of the Baltic Ontopsychology Association, to present the main achievements of Youth for Youth, Craftsmanship's Future of Europe, and the I Am Able to Do project. Nina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Renar. Thank you, colleagues. Dear participant of this high-level event, first of all, I would like to express really special gratitude to the organizer of this wonderful meeting together. I'm really happy to see so many healthy and happy young person and also colleagues, Andrea, Hannah, and yes, really. And Renar, can you help me with presentation? I just agree with you and absolutely sure that investment into youth is investment into sustainable renewal and generation of our society. And for me, today is a great honor to introduce you to another Erasmus project for youth, which for many young people has become a turning point in their lives, allowing them to make significant progress in their professional life and also personal development. So can I have a presentation, please?
Yes, Eduardo, yes.
Thank you. The name of the project, Craftsmanship's Future of Europe, I Am Able to Do. This project is as another concrete and effective example of an innovative training useful for young people all over the world. And I would like to share with the main achievement of it. So next slide, please. Able to Do was implemented for 30 participants, young people from 16 to 30 years old, coming from Latvia, Lithuania, and Italy. Next slide. So partners, you can see the implementation of this innovative project was possible thanks to the successful cooperation of 3 countries and 3 organizations, NGO Baltic Ontopsychology Association, private company, small medium enterprise full service from Italy, and one of the largest vocational training center in Lithuania. This is state institution, Carlos Mindaugas Vocational Training Center. And of course, our great associated partner, the Scientific and Humanistic Research Foundation of Antonio Meneghetti. One of all project partner organization priority is, of course, engagement of young people as equally responsible and social active worker into labor market. Next slide. Which are the main aim and essential ideas of this project able to do? Actually 3. First of all, to relaunch interest of young people towards artisan craftsmanship of excellence, because strong demand of it exists, especially in the highest market segment, handmade excellency, yet it is at risk of extinction, actually. Secondly, a project uses an experience recognized as you already mentioned, successful on an international scale, made in Italy. So second aim of our project was to extract from this model, for this approach made in Italy, that can then be reproduced in our countries in North Europe, while promoting their own local and regional vocation, excellences, raw materials, culture identities, tradition and development approaches. And of course, our important aim to accompany young people along their own individual development path, while they discover their life project and while they undergo a responsible apprenticeship of both professional and psychological nature. I would like, next slide please, just to emphasize our project innovative part, as it offers a new way to promote employability and competitiveness of youth integration into labor market and youth entrepreneurship. Of course, this origin, causes, characteristics, strength and secret of Made in Italy were studied directly in the field in Italy, both from the technical point of view, how to do it, and from point of view of personal development, of point of view of our lifestyle, how to be. And main innovation element was this Made in Italy approach is innovation in a field of professional training. Because Made in Italy, of course, is a mark of quality, define competitive advantages of a product or service produced in Italy. And the innovative approach means not only technique of creating quality products from a production perspective, which is possible to learn through formal education, but for us it means mostly creativity and artistic genius, service mentality, ability to serve and to pay attention for small details, skills to transform a local product into a globally recognized brand and turning this unique product into a myth or status symbol, forming, of course, proper mindset and responsible attitude to creation of excellence and high quality. Such interdisciplinary approach is completely new for Baltic region and for our partners from Baltic states. The aim of this project was to learn from experienced partner from Italy, get to know their already successfully implemented techniques, to test, to transfer that to our countries, to Latvia and Lithuania. And as a result, innovative practice were introduced to youth workers in our countries, helping to create Made in Latvia and Made in Lithuania. The another innovative practice were adjust to our national situation of our countries involved in the project, and the output was completely unique, innovative methodology of craftsmanship future of Europe. And of course, this innovative methodology is based on 3 key elements to develop abilities of our young people. First of all, how to do, skills and knowledge to launch entrepreneurship. And secondly, understanding of psychology and ethic of creating and promoting this product and services. And of course, take over of attitudes of craftsmen who successfully own the craft. And the last but very important innovative moment is the ontopsychological approach used by FOIL service and by Baltic Ontopsychology Association in our daily work with youth, and going to be integrated during the training course. Usually programs developing professional education focus on the situation of labor market. So young people are offered to get skills what are in demand at current moment. But it's not effective, and you actually confirmed before, as they may not be inclined to do this job. And able to do project combines need analysis of the national economy with personal assessment of each person's abilities and each person's interests in order to find perfect match for everyone. Next slide, please. So our main activities have been structured into these 3 parts. First of all, our young people were involved in research, analysis of local needs and economic perspective of the national economics, and it helped them to get knowledge of the ancient and modern craft in our countries, and to develop the consciousness of cultural and socio-economic identity of our countries. Most important, the second part dedicated to full immersion modules in Italy, and each one was really combining different wonderful activities, guided visit in ateliers, companies, craftsman workshop in different fields: pottery, metallurgy, design, tailoring, cuisine, food and wine, carpentry and interior design, photography, textile, clothing, ancient embroidery schools, modern wine, jewelry, and so on. And of course, these visits allowed our young people to learn in practice about the functioning of big international Italian brands, as well as the small enterprises, custodies of the authentic made in Italy. So, and young people had the possibility to see how artisans' art always derive from artistic and cultural history of a territory. This knowledge was gathered collectively through visits, particularly important venues such as Rome or Assisi, and moments reserved for music or plastic art, as well as lecture by experts who could explain roots and specificities of culture of North Europe, what was very important for us. And of course, main point what actually I would like to emphasize, that all aspect was linked to lifestyle and personality, including entrepreneurial psychology, job interview, selection of collaborators, how to delegate tasks to them, and so on. And the last third part, profile, I'm able to do. This is workshop for young people on the end of the project, teaching youth to present themselves not through standard written CV, because everyone can write it using a sample, but through showing their tangible achievements in the creative way, is a completely new way for young people to position themselves on the market. Such profile gives an idea to employer what young person can really do as they present themselves through real professional achievement, for instance, piece of art or handcraft or services. So, and next slide, please. We can see just some of the highlights of learning the art of made in Italy. Here you can see chocolate production Perugina, and this picture is Katrina, who will be next speaker. This we can see how to do and how to be. The next one is metallurgy, metal proceeding. With master, please next slide. With master Tonino, please next slide. The next one is a wonderful workshop about tailoring and design. Please next. And the last, yes, what also young people enjoyed very much. And the last one is pottery and wine production. And thank you. And finally, finally we can move to next slide, please. Main achievement of Youth for Youth. The best reward for us, actually, this conclusion of our participants. Please next slide. And I group them in 4 groups. First of all participants indicated that this course gave them motivation to grow and inspiration to develop. And as you see, many indicated that now we know what I need to change in my lifestyle. I believe that I'm able to do my goals. Now I know and how much I want actually to succeed it. I want to be better. I want to see more, do more, and be more. Next group of these achievements, we can actually, please next slide, to indicate as a new way of thinking, because all of participants indicated that they now thinking in another way. And in this way to be better, be the best of what I can actually do. So to provide the best service, to provide the best quality, and to improve myself in professional area. The next finding, please next slide, is development of personality. And it is important to know ourselves and to grow every day. As you see, these young people indicated that for my personal and professional life, this was a tip for attitude, lifestyle, communication, the keywords of responsibility for myself, of my life, and improve myself. Many Italians indicated that they are now motivated to learn more languages besides a native one, and how small habits can actually have such big impact to decision and daily life. And the last part, please next slide, it's of conclusion of our course is development of entrepreneurial mindset. So that young people starting to think how to create ourselves as a leader entrepreneurs, how to start own business or own work, and how a passion in the field can really become to business. And the best way to show myself in the world of marketing and to pay attention to details and so on. So the last slide, please. I would like to conclude that I would like to thank you everybody who gave so big contributions to teacher and to our partners to succeed such great results. And final thesis which participants prepared as a conclusion of the course confirm the effectiveness of the undertaking training path. From young people conclusion, we clearly see a true turning point in the way of thinking about themselves and their future, generated precisely by the project Able to Do and course made in Italy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nina, for the presentation. It was really nice to see that so many of my peers had the opportunity to, so to say, reset their thinking a little bit, and hopefully they went home understanding that the real joy of life is actually striving for excellence in the things they do. I like the emphasis on this. I think we need more projects like this one, because I have observed a trend among my peers of settling for averageness. If we continue that way, I'm afraid we will not advance as a society. To move forward, next up in line, I would like to present a video by Katrina Paulina from Latvia. Katrina is a member of the Baltic Ontopsychology Association and was a participant of the I Am Able to Do project. And she will share her project experience, practice, and best tips for contemporary youth.
Good afternoon. My name is Katrina Paulina, and I was a participant in Able to Do. I'm happy to tell you a little bit about my experience and gains in the project. Currently, I work in a school as a theater arts teacher, and I am also studying digital marketing in Augsburg, Germany. Also, one of my passions is languages. I currently speak 4 languages fluently, and I'm not planning to stop there. In this short presentation, I will address a few challenges that affect the contemporary youth and offer some short tips based on my experience in Able to Do project. How to stay on track and how to find my track in the times when the world moves as fast as never before. Every generation has complained the world has never been so complicated before. And the truth is, the world hasn't never been so complicated as before. But however challenging the global situation might be, there are always young people who will tirelessly find the way to build their lives and affect the world. I think to realize, considering this challenge, is that complicated is a very subjective concept. That what we view as complicated might change according to our skills. So I would like to remind you that there was a time in our lives when we all considered eating with a fork very complicated, but as soon as we learned it, we just stopped thinking about it and it stopped being complicated. And just because something is complicated doesn't mean it should be used an excuse not to excel in whatever a young person decides he wants to do with his life. So let this be the first lesson that I took from Able to Do project. Don't fear complicated. Figure it out and make it work. How to be successful in modern world. Success takes time, and any long-term planning takes some sort of prediction. In times when change is the only constant we have, prediction borders to somewhat guessing. Development of future economical, environmental, political situation might be very hard to predict. So basically, a young person is supposed to plan their future career in the unknown environment. This is the problem why many young people gain a habit to plan their future short term. The consequences might be them feeling reattached from influencing the development of the global process. Timeline in a global context and human life is a tricky thing. It takes time to find what works. But as soon as you get to that point, you want to pass your knowledge and skills to the next generation, but they already live in a different world, and they need a new new skill set, and a new philosophy of life and of lifestyle, of work ethics. So what we worked on in able to do was building bridges between past and future. Contemporary youth is in a position to integrate the values of quality, of work ethics, of the past in the modern world. This was a big change of view during the project for me, that we not only talked about, but we made and saw in action many practical examples of businessmen and craftsmen who had overtaken the previously successful family business that seemed not to work anymore in these modern times. But instead of closing the businesses, instead of claiming bankruptcy, they implemented the modern business models, digital marketing, e-commerce. They adjusted their businesses to requirements of the modern world. At the same time, keeping and honoring the history and the culture of their brand, of their business. So even in the modern world, storytelling is the most significant cornerstone, and working with the brand who already has the history, who has the story, or a family business, that enables much bigger opportunities for storytelling, combining modern day business models, modern day marketing possibilities, combining that with history, with culture, with existing story, that creates an amazing opportunities for storytelling. Added value. We might think that the market is very full, that the competition is fierce, but there is still very little competition when it comes to added value. And it doesn't matter if we talk about business, if we talk about marketing, if we talk about education, or any specialists in demand. Have you ever seen a situation that there are specialists working in the same field, but some of them are out of work? Meanwhile, some of them are overbooked. And you may ask why? The answer is added value. There might be a pizzeria in every city, but nothing compares to a real Italian pizza. So that is basically the simplest example for added value. The sample applies to a person as well. There are a lot of specialists with different skill sets, but there are only some who have personalized a unique added value. Time to invest and time to enjoy. Finding a clear definition in which period in life you are. In the world that is moving so fast, it is easy to get an impression that constant long-term work belongs to previous generations, to previous century, and the success should be as quick as other things happen. So we have a little bit this fast food mindset, this shortcut, fast delivery mindset, and the world is turning in many ways that way. And even though it might be true that a constant robotic work is a thing of the past and will be replaced by robots and artificial intelligence, there are no artificial intelligence or robots or machineries that can replace creative and agile, constant work that is reflective and determined. Agility is the key word. If you are lost, start exploring. New territories are never being found without stepping into the unknown. And when finding yourself in an unknown territory, it is a very clear choice. Declaring yourself lost and trying to get yourself back on the well-known road, or declare yourself an explorer and be open to learning new skill sets, to widening your point of view. All the explorers were lost at some point. And when you step a foot into unknown, you are supposed not to understand everything. In fact, if you find yourself in a spot where you think you understand everything, you definitely need to find broader territories to explore. Never stop learning, never stop improving, never stop moving. Always keep the movement forward. Be very confident and be very critical about your skills, both at the same time. Know your worth and don't be shy about it. Representation is a big factor in how you are seen. Learn confidence from others and learn how to present yourself. In the meantime, set the standards high for yourself and keep pushing you to do your best. As paradoxical it might seem, this is exactly the mindset that will bring you to the best professional results. Show up and do the thing you think you are not good enough to do. Practice and be confident, but no matter how good you get, you will still have the space to improve, always. You still have the space to improve your performance and never stop doing that. So basically, do both at the same time. Be very confident, but be very, very critical about yourself and keep on improving. Don't dwell neither on your mistakes, neither on your victories. As soon as you dwell, you're left behind. So keep moving forward. Thank you for your attention. It was a pleasure talking to you.
No, thank you so much to Katerina. Unfortunately, she was not able to join this evening. Therefore, let's just send her good energy for her story and contribution to this event. I think her speech was, it always gave me the TED Talk vibes. It was very, very great thinking. And now, without last but not least, I would like to give the floor to myself and tell you about the =EU project. It's the largest and, in my opinion, the most important project that our institute is a part of. And I'm excited to tell you all about it. Now, not only is the =EU project a much needed regional partnership for empowering women in the digital age, it is also very fundamental for youth leadership and the empowerment of young women who will in the future become future leaders and innovators. And unfortunately, progress towards gender equality in Europe, and not only in Europe and worldwide, it was moving slowly. And when COVID-19 hit and the COVID-19 pandemic came, it put the progress in gender equality to hold, or even regressed it in a way. And in this presentation, I will present you an overview of the project activities and how the goals of the project empower young people all over Europe and the world to foster not only entrepreneurship competencies and creativity, but also shine light to why the gender dimension cannot be overlooked in creating new businesses and innovative startups. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. So =EU, Europe's regional partnership for gender equality in the digital age. This Horizon 2020 research project started in January of 2020, right at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. The =EU consortium is affiliated with the Equals Global Partnership, which was founded by the United Nations Specialized Agency, the ITU, the International Telecommunication Association, United Nations Women, the global organization that unifies the mobile ecosystem, GSMA, the International Trade Center, and the United Nations University. =EU aims to promote gender equity in social innovation through, first of all, building capacity through multilateral partnerships that strengthen existing networks and formalize new networks in social innovation and entrepreneurship, as well as through creating smart, sustainable, and inclusive social innovation ecosystems in local communities and cities in Europe, and also in non-European countries in the global north and south. Next slide, please. If we associate the project with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the project aims to accelerate the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 5, which is gender equality, and especially target Goal 5B, which is promoting empowerment of women through technology, while also fostering equal rights to ownership, basic services, technology, and economic resources, as well as providing universal access to information and communications technology. Next slide. So as you see, we have a lot of partners in this project. The EqualsEU consortium consists of 19 organizations from a wide variety of sectors, including higher education institutions, small and medium enterprises, civil society organizations, and also some research institutions. Together with external partners, the EqualsEU scope of activities encompasses 37 European and non-European countries. And as you can see here, the EqualsEU partners cover multiple industries, both academia, like we have the Oslo Metropolitan University, the Spider Center of the Stockholm University, University of Valencia, among others, as well as stakeholders of the private sector and different non-governmental organizations. And also the project acts as sort of a platform between Europe and the global south, with organizations like the United Nations University Institute in Macau, University of Haifa, Middle East Technical University, among others. And the direct involvement of countries in Global South is in support of the European Union's commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals, and it supports the bilateral knowledge exchange and the technology transfer, which provides benefits for society and also the economy in both Europe and the Global South. So next slide. So the EqualsEU project is centered around 4 key activities that sort of leverage expertise from global leaders in gender inclusive innovation and also new ideas and commitment of future female leaders. So the first activity, it focuses on developing a new methodology for mapping the gender inclusion in social innovation ecosystems in 20 countries. As part of this, the entire consortium, led by the Spider Center of the Stockholm University, we have produced a map of key stakeholders and gender inclusive innovations in information and communication technology products, services, and different policies. In 2022, as part of this, we have published a policy brief on promoting a gender inclusive innovation ecosystem and a compendium of case studies that outline the key actors and advancements that have been noticed in over 20 countries in Europe and worldwide as well. The second activity focused on hosting a series of hackathons and innovation camps in over 25 countries. In 2021, a training guide for hosting the events was produced, and for each event, teams developed new gender equity solutions for women and girls' digital inclusion. Each of these events focused on the needs of the local cultural context, as you will hear a little bit later in this presentation. At the end of each event, a jury of experts and peers selected a solution and a team, which went on to attend the incubator program that started in 2022, and it just recently ended in February 2023. The third activity focused on running a 6-month online incubator and mentorship program on gender inclusive entrepreneurship. This incubator program, which I also had the opportunity to lead a workshop in, provided business development training for the teams selected from the innovation camps and hackathons. And in the end, it will result in the development of at least 10 new startups led by women. This program will provide expert mentors and advocates to provide individual support for the startups. And the incubator program will also form the basis of a spin-off professional network for women and girls in innovation and entrepreneurship, which is currently being developed by our partners in GUDC in Oslo. And the fourth and final activity focuses on holding a 1-month boot camp for future leaders in gender inclusive innovation. Sorry, the boot camp participants have been drawn from the incubator program, and the boot camp programs will focus on women's digital rights, transformational leadership, and also STEM skills. It is planned that about 20 scholarships will be awarded to the bootcamp participants, but I will tell you more about this bootcamp in a moment. Next slide. And before I do that, I would just like to use the opportunity to present our experience in organizing an innovation camp. This innovation camp that you can see in the pictures here was called Gender Inclusive Social Entrepreneurship, and it was organized on the 6th of May, 2022 at the Latvian Academy of Sciences in Riga. We had 10 very passionate participants, young women, university students who worked with local experts to develop innovative solutions for a more gender inclusive social entrepreneurship ecosystem in Latvia. The experts shared their experience, they shared their knowledge and their practical advice on how to create, register, and develop a successful social enterprise. Next slide. And in this innovation camp, we had a winning team. The winning team was called 365 Mother's Day. And they developed an idea of an application for pregnant women and young mothers where they can acquire experience, get up-to-date knowledge, and just feel accepted and be heard. And they developed this idea. The authors of this idea were university students from Eka University of Applied Sciences, Nora Laurīte, Alice Egle, Maija Strādniece, and Evita Lauceniece. Next slide. And yes, as I mentioned, the winning team developed the idea of a social innovation with the assistance and expertise of local experts and entrepreneurs. And everyone found that this idea promoted the creation of such support programs, as well as other well-being programs and mental support. It was outlined that this is a very great innovation that they have created, and the jury in the end favored this concept because it was well thought over and quite easily implementable. And both the participants and the jury of experts considered the innovation camp that was held in Riga that it was a success. Not only were the participants given the platform to brainstorm and discuss different ideas, they were also given the opportunity to make their gender equitable idea a reality. And in total, from the 10 people, the innovation camp cultivated 3 different ideas, social innovations that were created. And one of these teams will be participating in the summer school that we have planned that I will tell you about in the end of this presentation, to have the opportunity to develop their idea even further. Next slide. And as part of the project, this type of event did not only take place in Latvia. To be precise, a total of 19 hackathons or innovation camps were organized. Each of them acted like a platform for young women who will in future become future leaders and entrepreneurs to develop innovative startups. Some of the events that can be seen in this slide. As you can see, our Swiss colleagues from the Graduate Institute of Geneva held an event on the topic of feminism and women's leadership in international law and policy. Our leading colleagues at the GSMA in London in the UK had an innovation camp on bridging the financial literacy gap. Though one that I really want to mention myself, the one that took place in Ukraine, that was hosted by the Kharkiv National University of International Affairs, sorry. It was the one that stood out most to me. It took place on the 24th of June, 2022. It was more than 3 months after the war in Ukraine began. and 27 young people participated in the event and developed both individual and also team proposals. And we will be more than excited to welcome them in the summer school that we have planned this year. Next slide. And another notable event that we had here in Riga on the 11th of November was a focus group discussion to discuss the findings of a survey about social innovation ecosystems in Latvia. Not only did we invite experts from NGOs, from academia and the private sector, we also chose to invite some young people, students, as well as representatives of a social initiative about inclusive urban spaces, just to exchange views and see the different views we have on different topics regarding social innovation. Next slide. And I believe that the goals of the project are quite clear. The project is about creating a smart, sustainable, and inclusive innovation ecosystem that encourages young women to become women innovators. The women in this project and young girls are provided with the necessary support that they need to become successful and create successful gender equitable startups. And also, parallel to all of that, develop youth competencies in general by involving young people in the innovation ecosystem. Next slide. And all of these goals that I just outlined must be achieved until the end of this year, until the end of June, as in the month of June, the Equals in EU Consortium will be organizing the International Summer School. Those will be 3 activity-packed weeks of professional development workshops, which will have hands-on activities and different site visits, which will be led by experienced mentors and local academic partners. And actually, our institute will have the honor to welcome all participants on behalf of all the partners and especially the Kharkiv National University of Internal Affairs, as the week 1 was originally supposed to take place in Kharkiv, but due to the war, it has been relocated to Riga. And we will have the honor to welcome all the participants from all over the world on the 12th of June. After 5 days of activities in our summer school, those will continue for a week in Geneva, Switzerland, and our colleagues at the Graduate Institute of Geneva will welcome them. And the 3rd week, the final week of the boot camp, will take place in Valencia, Spain. And the final goal is to support around 20 or so future leaders and gender equity and digital inclusion role models. And I think that the greater public will benefit as well, as a permanent repository of digital learning materials will also be published afterwards. Next slide. And to conclude, I just wanted to include a slide of different testimonials by all of the Innovation Camp and Hackathon participants from all over the world, just so that these testimonials can kind of speak for themselves. These testimonials, and I have not included all of them, wonderfully show that the impact that these workshops with like-minded young people and passionate experts has had. And the Equals EU project and other Horizon 2020 and Erasmus Plus projects are essential to accelerate and achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And I do believe, and I strongly believe, that the legacy and impact of the Equals EU project is immeasurable. And as in many countries, the forces are joining to invest in youth, future women leaders, and the forces are sort of joining at unprecedented levels to contribute towards a more inclusive, growth-oriented, and above all, a more gender equitable society. Next slide. Now, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to be able to present the progress of our projects. It would be much appreciated if you followed along our activities and if you checked out the website of our project. And if anyone has any questions regarding this project and our activities, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you, Renners. I think it's time to give the word to our listeners. If there are any questions, so we are doing our best. We will do our best to answer them. You can write them or just orally say it. Okay. If there are any questions, it was a great pleasure to be with you. And I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart to all the listeners and all the participants that took part in this project. And goodbye.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much for participating. Have a nice evening.